BS3 Network.
Welcome back.
Bring back that beat. DJ.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute since you've uttered those very words.
The DJ saved my life last night. You don't know nothing about that, A-Trap. Huh? Have a DJ ever saved your life, man?
I used to be a DJ.
Oh, you done saved some life, then.
Save some life.
I don't see your red cross on your shirt nowhere.
That's the only thing that counts. The forecast.
Right out.
All right, welcome once again to the forecast. It is the 3 cast as of right now. Hopefully, we should be getting Mayhem Wilkes in the building in a minute. But coming to you tonight, we had a week off last week. The week before, Doc was out and about. So, you want to talk about the trip?
Nope.
Real quick? Nope. Okay.
It's just
moving around along.
Island dog. It was just I was mistaken for a beach whale a couple of times, but other than that, that's it. Because I'm telling you, I let the gut fly when I'm out there. I done paid for this shit. Y'all should see all of this luxurious BMW. Yeah.
But welcome tonight.
Everything
to
but
show.
the penile situation, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my God. This guy, man. This guy here, man. I'm not messing with you.
That's why I'm at the bottom. I put myself here because I knew how I was gonna act.
This man. So everything but it's out here.
Coming in. Shots
coming in hot.
All right, so tonight we will be reviewing Big George Foreman. It's on Netflix. It was in theaters April the 28th, and it's about, obviously, George Foreman. It's in the name. So we're reviewing that tonight. Going to give our perspectives like we always do here on the forecast, and coming at you live and direct every Monday at the same exact time. Let's give a couple shout outs here. We got Anna in the building. Thank you for tuning in.
What's going on, Anna?
Did have a good Labor Day. So looking forward to the commentary because I was thinking about watching it. I'll definitely say you should. It's if you got Netflix, go ahead. Kirby in the building. We got JB Jungle Brother in the building. How you doing?
What's up, Jungle Brother?
Somebody said, fellas, if you're in the Facebook group, either one, the BSC Network or the End of the Bench, please go to StreamYard.com/Facebook.
Mayhem is a little late. He's got a upset stomach, so he'll be here in just a minute.
Actually, I was in the restroom. Thank you.
Hey. Doing a number 3 or something.
Or was you fixing your cocktail? Which one was it?
Well, I got that already, but I did have to go potty. Sorry.
Okay, all right. See, I just guessed. And the older you get, matter of fact, we just read a Facebook post that said you go from being a fun guy to having to turn the stereo down to be able to see where you're going.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I know how it is trying to get that bladder just right.
Yeah.
All right, we got Grace in the building, host of Grace. Life Happens on Wednesdays at 7, right here on BS3 Network.
I see she got the glamour shots with that little profile picture there.
Yeah.
I see
the glamour shots are Olin Mills,
Olin Mills, baby.
I don't know which one it is.
Olin Mills.
Skaggs alphabet.
We got DJ Knox in the building. Said Brian, I mean slime ball, Brian.
Slime ball.
Wow.
Wow. All right. I'm just here to stick my middle finger to the Cowboys
See,
fans.
I don't understand, baby.
Hey.
That's the problem.
Wow.
We all friends here, aren't we?
Wow.
It's only one game. Don't get your hopes too high on either side. Don't do it.
Right.
We got Rosalind. Thank you for tuning in. New viewer here.
Rosalind cuts, but what do you cut is what I'm trying to figure out. Rosalind, do you cut hair? Do you cut Negroes? What'd you cut? I didn't know.
Both.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Good evening, forecast. Thank you for tuning in. And Grace said, "Hater." All right. So, A-Trap, how you doing tonight?
Always good, man. Always
good. Good to see you. Doc, I know you're doing well.
Fantastic.
Rosin said, "OMG." So, yeah. Big Illinois in the building. I see you with the Abby swinging a cigar.
Yeah,
so you're having a good time this weekend.
How'd your monthly probation? I know it's the first of the month. So how'd your meeting with your probation officer or parole officer? I don't know which
the
one.
First of the month. Get up.
Have they reduced your fees yet? Or they still high?
No restitution in Illinois, man.
Okay. Really? Really?
You do your time, man.
Isn't that interesting?
Well.
She said Blue Streak, now red.
Now you're gonna be forever Blue Streak free, regardless of what your hair color like. That blue streak ain't got nothing to do with hair color anyway.
Yeah, doing good, doing all right. Ready to review this one.
All right.
A lot of things I didn't know about George Foreman. So,
what is that in the background right there?
What's that
on the food tray? Is that some sort of helmet?
Oh, over here?
Yeah.
Helmet. Yeah, it's a helmet, Magneto helmet.
Okay, shit. Turning the Magneto on it, shit. Let's see what's going on.
Man.
Turn some shit to steel or draw it to whatever you do.
Yeah.
Hey, this is a response to you.
I love it, nigga. Aloysius A-Trap.
That's his name.
Yeah, I understood.
That's his middle name.
Big ear.
All right, so tonight, Big George Foreman. Let's get into some initial thoughts. I was surprised it was on Netflix so soon because normally it's at least, 6 months to a year. But to me, this was kind of it was a good biographical movie, but it was kind of a straight to DVD type film, if you will, with some of the actors and such. But I felt like it told the complete story. We talk about this a lot. A-Trap talks about it. Telling the complete story, not leaving a lot out. And I felt like they did a good job telling, the majority of his story. So A-Trap, initial thoughts.
I mean, George Foreman is a wildly popular guy, right? He's been famous for almost 50 years now, and you know very little about him. So it was excellent to find out things. So one of the things I didn't like about the Ali movie, and I know y'all love the Ali movie, but you found out how he started boxing, why he started boxing, what was his motivation, and things of that nature. So whereas I traditionally don't like biopics, not because I don't enjoy them, I want them to be bio miniseries so we can get as much as you can absorb from a target. But this one did a great job of giving you who George is, why he was what he was, and who he is currently, because you know who he is currently. So I enjoyed it there.
Yeah, and I think another big thing about this is that he's lived really like 3 different segments of his life. Being a boxer, being a pastor, being an entrepreneur, being a boxer again. I mean, that was, he is living. He's still alive, obviously, living a great life and, letting his talent show. Big Illinois says, bombed at the box office. Sony has a streaming deal with Netflix. And to that point, This film, the budget was $32 million, and as of right now, it's made $3.7 million. So, yeah, that's a huge hit. Now, not to say that it could, recoup some of that, but as of right now. All right, Doc.
All right, well, I'll go ahead and give my little plot situation, and just not that we necessarily need it for George Foreman,
Yeah.
right? But it does say, from Olympic gold medalist to world heavyweight champion, boxer George Foreman leads a remarkable life. He finds his faith, retires, and becomes a preacher. When financial hardship hits his family and church, George steps back in the ring and regains the championship at age 45, becoming the oldest heavyweight champion in boxing history. Like being said, this was on Netflix after being released on April the 28th, so that is pretty quick. It was directed by George Tillman Jr., and as he mentioned, or as Big Illinois mentioned, it was distributed by Sony. And some cast members known, some not so known, which we'll get into that a little later, and their acting jobs that they did in this film. My initial thoughts, again, I think I'm like the rest of the crew, knew some, fringe information about George Foreman. Believe it or not, here's an interesting perspective. What I knew about George Foreman mostly came by way of watching Ali biopics and documentaries and stuff like that, right? Because he was heavily intertwined there. So when you mention Ali and you try to tell the story of Ali, you got to mention George Foreman, you got to mention Frazier, you got to mention Howard Cosell. There's a certain few people you got to mention in order to tell that story, right? So probably knew more about George Foreman from Ali films and or from his post grill situation, the ridiculous stuff of naming all of his boys George,
Right.
I say ridiculous. His thought process was, hey, we won. So if one of us succeed, we all succeed. If one of us get in trouble, we all get in trouble. So someone, being, I don't know if you were at the men's fellowship that night when we were talking about names, and I stood up and told my youngest son, about his name and what that meant, and et cetera, et cetera. So I can respect it,
Yeah. And we already got 2 comments on the grill. I was waiting on the introduction of the grill. I was too. And Grace, I actually watched it. I remember buying my first grill. Yeah, I remember the George Foreman grill. Most people had one, especially
when I first got that joker, boy, I was using the hell out of it.
You can grill everything.
That chicken breast, even made me, hey, Wilkes, it's a nice little panini.
Nice little panini press.
Yeah.
Hey,
made a hell of a grill sandwich out that mile.
Man, keep it rolling. Let me throw one of these on there real quick.
All right, Wilkes.
Yeah, I'm kind of like H-Rap and Doc. I mean, I didn't know much about him until I heard his name come up in Ali moments where they were kind of reflecting on just the boxing world. But then I felt like coming into the 90s, he was, maybe because of him coming back to the ring, and he just kind of had a resurgence there in the 90s. I felt like he was also on like sitcoms. I felt like he was a lot of appearances.
Oh yeah, you know what? That's a good point. And I
I feel like he was, he was on like, Johnny Carson, Jay Leno. He was always on something, or he had a special appearance on, something like that. So, yeah, I think George Foreman, of course, like you said, especially with his grills, I mean, he's always just been there in every aspect. I mean, whether it's, I think he's done a Meineke commercial for brakes. I think he was a representative for Meineke. He's just done a lot of,
you're right,
a lot of different things. So, it was good to watch.
Yeah, I think they were probably coming at him because, number one, once he got world champion at 45 again,
right?
That was a story and a half,
right? Exactly.
And that and the grill popularity was at an all-time high. So, I think it was, a combination of a lot of those late night shows and his people both taking advantage of slow nights or slow times in the industry. Like, hey, bring George ass on, because he had a lot of stories to tell, whether it be, the recent ones with regard to him being champion again at such a late age, or his interaction with Ali. So I'm willing to bet he probably get tired of people asking him about, man, how was it fighting Ali, or how was it being around Ali behind the scenes, whatever. So,
You know what? I don't think he gets tired of it because he's the only person that I've seen speak glowingly of Muhammad Ali. Joe Frazier died mad at Ali. Remember in '96, Joe Frazier said he wanted to Ali lit the torch in the '96 Olympics.
Right.
And Joe said he wanted to push him in the fire, man.
Wow.
Man, still, man, 20 years later.
It's a long time, man. You lost fair and square, Joe.
And Larry Holmes, I think, Larry Holmes, I don't hear Larry Holmes to say, I love him. Then he'll say something bad about him. So I think, you never really saw Kenny Norton speak about him. And when nobody asking Spinks. So, he ain't had it right. He did.
He ain't had the right grill. He was like,
right.
All right.
Speaking of grills, he ain't have one.
Yeah.
Right.
But George seems to be the only person that speaks about Ali with reverence.
Yeah, true that.
And in this film, which they talked about, they became real good friends all the way up until Ali's death. So, I mean, Ali was either you pretty much loved him or hated him, because he would talk about you. He would do it in your face. He would would make sure you knew who he was, and he was in your head. Ali, being somebody who talks about folks in your face, if I'm doing it, it's because I cut for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm generally not talking about folks that I don't care nothing about. Right.
So if I'm talking about you, we generally doing pretty well.
Right. Right. Let me get to some comments here. We got Denise Milk and Cookies in the building. How you doing?
Wait, Denise, where you see Denise at?
Yeah, she
that's
she
D
chats
nice,
in a lot of the groups.
That's D nice.
That's MC, baby.
This is a good point here. The director Tillman did the Biggie movie and Soul Food. I had to look it up. I didn't know that. Gray said steaks, talking about the grill and sausage.
Yeah, and then she go ahead and put the next comment up. She put, because that's the first thing I thought when you put steaks up.
That makes no way they was gonna be.
Ain't no way they gonna be no good.
There we go. Yeah, come on.
All the juice. Y'all remember that tray? All the juice is going in.
Yeah, what was you thinking anyway?
That's what. Yeah, it was like
we got Mr. Harper in the building. He already coming in laughing. That's what we gonna try to make you do tonight.
Yeah, that's my son.
Big Mo. Oh, well, I think William.
Long story.
Okay, I thought he would. Yeah. All right, we got Big Mo. We got somebody waving hi and somebody said, "Fellas, thank you guys." All right, so one thing I did not know, starting off, he grew up in Houston. I didn't know that. I thought maybe it was like Midwest.
That was one of those back of your mind thoughts where once they said it, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. So I knew Houston. I didn't know Fifth Ward necessarily, and they specifically got into that tells a lot. Back in the day, Fifth Ward at the very least, all the way up until late 90s. Okay, see, I was gonna say I'm just out of touch with Third Ward and Fifth Ward at this point, but I know 90s. For a fact, all the way up until the late 90s at least, that was, right. You ain't finna just be riding through there comfortably.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right. And that was us. That was us. We were all up in there. And the way they said his name, George.
Yeah,
George.
like Dwayne Caraway called George on the ticket. George.
Yeah.
Greg.
Like on the Jefferson, Weezy.
Yeah, that's right.
George. Yeah.
We the only people that make George a 2 or 3 syllable word when it's just one.
Exactly. But showing his upbringing, they had a tough upbringing. They showed that scene with them sharing the hamburger, and the sister was like, "Hey, you need it more than I do." He was obviously bigger than everybody, so I like how they showed the beginnings, and I think they did a good job at that. Anybody want to add on to that?
Yeah, that their family being so close, I think that was important. Like even when he went out to Job Corps, they gathered around the phone because he on the calling back and stuff like that. So that tells you they were in his corner before he got big. You know, so
Yeah.
you know, so those are the kind of people that when you do get big, you definitely want to be kicking them down because they've been with you, you know. And just and don't get them twisted because just because you're siblings doesn't necessarily mean that's always the case, you know.
Right. A-Trap, you want to add?
Oh, no, I was digging that because, you know, we spoke about that a few weeks ago. Me and Doc had touched on it when we were talking about just because you're rich don't mean you're wealthy. And we were talking about your family and the connections that you have with your family really substantiates your wealth. And they didn't have a lot, but they had each other. And you saw that throughout the entirety of the film.
Right. True. And before we go any further, how did you feel? I believe his name is Khris Davis, who played George Foreman. How did y'all feel about him portraying George Foreman, Wilkes?
I think he did all right. I mean, I don't know if he would have found anybody else, really. I mean, I didn't have an issue with it. I know it's one of those, you know, they try to get close as they can, but I think he did all right. Every now and then, you know, he even had his cadence, like he was talking like George. Right. And then one moment later on in the movie, he was sounding like Muhammad Ali at one point. I was thinking, which one is he doing? But I think he did okay. I didn't have a problem with it.
I felt like it was believable because sometimes you can have somebody play somebody and you're like, hey, you don't even look like that person or sound like that person. Yeah. But it was believable.
A-Trap, what do you think? No, I want to go to A-Trap first.
Okay. I dug it. You know what? Wilkes touched on it. Like he spoke about the sitcom, and when Wilkes brought up the sitcom, that dude did remind me of George when he was on Sanford and Son because he had the little nappy fro kick to the side. So I was feeling homeboy. That was homeboy from Jesus and the Black Messiah. So
I was feeling. Get your boy.
I would. I didn't think he did very well at all.
That's what I'm talking about, Big L.
I really didn't.
Can y'all remember?
And you put Grace's comment back up there.
Yeah, he special.
Yeah, I happen to agree with that.
Oh, he wasn't at the beginning.
It's like George wasn't retarded, man. Why you know?
Sometimes when you're hungry, it makes you retarded.
Yeah, I didn't think. I think I think casting could have been a little bit better with that. My personal opinion. I don't think that was one of the things. I got news for you. I'm telling you, and I respect that y'all dug it okay and all that, but I'm telling you, throughout the course of watching the movie, I was thinking to myself, he ain't no good, man. I didn't think he acted very well.
Check this out.
Yeah, I think for me, it's because I didn't know much about George, so I guess I wouldn't really focus on who was portraying him because I didn't know much about George, but I get what you're saying, but it didn't really bother me.
He ain't in danger of winning no Academy Awards.
No,
I promise you that.
Not at all.
And if I'm not mistaken, I'm willing to think about it. This is I'm gonna get to a comment later about plots, okay, in movies, right? And you didn't need the plot to drive nothing because the plot wrote itself because it's a true story, right? You don't need, so my point is, all you got to do is act. Yeah.
Okay, dog. That's what I want you to do. Man, you can hit me offline. I want you to pull it up on YouTube. When he was on Sanford and Son, and then watch this.
Oh no! I'm not trying to say. Hey, Ali would be the first to tell you. I'm not saying George was the sharpest knife in the drawer by any stretch.
Not even that. But he was acting like George was acting on Sanford and Son.
That's what he did. He might have just watched that.
That's what I'm saying. Do this. I'm acting like George acted, man.
From everything I've heard from George Foreman, he sounded pretty much dead on like him. So it wasn't like I don't think he was trying to portray him like he was slow, but I mean, he was a little.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. Him sitting at the table, he seemed a little retarded.
Yeah, I was, in fact, we talked. A-Trap mentioned the Ali film before. I think in some of the Ali films, the people they had playing George Foreman in those films, as far as I was concerned, did a better job at George Foreman.
Special needs.
Hey, whatever.
This man retarded.
I said he wasn't retarded.
Wilson called him man retarded 3 times. He's retarded.
Hey.
Let's not try. We're not gonna do this politically correct thing here. Hey, we all had retarded folks in our family and stuff, man. It is what it was.
I'm the retarded dude in my family.
Still have some retarded people.
Yeah.
Because I can't think of no
Right.
retarded.
Yeah, I volunteered for special ed because I wanted to go to lunch early. Shit. We were eating lunch at 10:15 a.m.
4 people in your class.
Retardation only means their learning process has been.
Thank you. Why we all sensitive about it?
Keisha in the building. So love y'all. Hope y'all all had fantastic days.
Full grin.
Denise said George never been the sharpest knife in the drawer.
Yeah.
But he done.
And hey, let's say this. I'm glad you said that, D Nice, because during when he was doing them commercials after times got hard.
Oh,
I want you to think back to the Rocky movies. Whenever he was trying to do commercials and he couldn't get the lines and shit right, it was the same situation. He did nigga mispronouncing words and shit. Like I said, but you ain't got to worry about the Oscars inviting his ass nowhere. I promise you that.
So Dark, you mentioned it. He ended up going to Job Corps. That's when Forest Whitaker came on, which anything Forest Whitaker is on, he plays that role. Tight. You've been doing it. You've been doing it.
Got range. Let's go ahead and let H-Rap say his funny shit about Forest Whitaker. Go ahead.
I ain't saying nothing. Go
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. No. Yeah, Forrest. I'm a Forest Whitaker fan. I think he's got range.
Yeah.
Now again, if you haven't seen him playing Bumpy Johnson in The Godfather of Harlem, I'm a Forest.
That's another notch. That's another notch.
And how long he been doing it? H-Rap? 4 decades? 5 decades?
Who, Forrest?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, go back
to the
70s, 80s.
Yeah. I know the Crying Game was a big one. But before that, but at least
if you haven't seen the Crying Game, go do yourself a favor and watch that.
I ain't watching that.
First 20 minutes or so, but I'm gonna tell you this: make sure you done drink you about 2 or 3 glasses of wine before you get to that part. And if you got and Blue Streak Freak, you get your freak on watching this.
I watched that joint once.
That's it. You don't want to see it no more.
You can't see that.
I've seen enough.
Ain't gonna be no rematch.
And you be like, oh,
can't rewatch that, man. Can't rewatch that.
So 1982 was his first film.
Yeah.
So 40 years.
Yeah. And
so
wasn't he the dad of somebody in Jason Lear? Was he a drunk or something? Was it Jason Lear's?
Yeah, he was the demented dad.
Okay.
He was quote unquote mad dog.
Yeah. He was crazy, man. You can say
if your name was Mad Dog, you crazy. Yeah, you ain't the button up guy.
Hey, speaking of which, Mad Dog birthday was 3 days ago. You turned 70, man. Mad Dog was good times.
Oh my gosh. That man still living.
He's 70.
Dang. I didn't know he was still alive.
Grace said, talk about them eyes. Hey, it's only one eye.
No.
It's only one.
No.
I ain't talking
You're
about
not gonna do that.
It looked like he had it corrected. Anyway. He may have had it corrected. I don't know.
No, he ain't had it corrected.
Well, it looked different in some films, though. That's the reason why.
It's probably with digital graphics these days, you can do anything.
Maybe.
I mean,
now you can make T'Challa put that blue stuff on his. No, I'm gonna stop.
Wow. See, you couldn't help it, did you? You couldn't help it.
I couldn't.
Is the pastor on today?
Yeah, he just texted me.
We need him. Hey, he need to be first in line on altar call Sunday. You hear me?
Jonah says Forest Whitaker put his tongue down Robin Givens' throat in Rage in Harlem. He deserves an Oscar for doing that scene in one take.
Yeah, I wouldn't take hey, Jungle Brother. I'd have took all day like I'm just not. It didn't feel right to me. Let me try again. Shit.
Yeah,
she ain't never really done too much for me.
Yeah. Jordan couldn't act.
Save my dog's life.
Save her dog's life. Yeah. All right. So yeah. That I like that kind of area or segment of the film when he was in Job Corps and just kind of learning boxing, kind of learning more about himself too, because he
learned he could run.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, he one of them get out scenes. That boy.
Hey, you're in my chucks, man.
Hey,
my mama bought me the. You know, mama couldn't buy much shit anyway. And ain't no way that boy could have wore George Foreman. That's what. That's another.
Right.
I knocked him down some points on that movie because it's like
big as he
shouldn't have fit.
Right.
They shouldn't have fit.
You saying they don't have?
That's bad directing.
I mean, even when he walked in the classroom,
in that size, you saying?
Huh?
You saying they didn't have chucks in that size?
No, I'm saying the guy when they showed the feet under the table with the guy wearing them, they fit him.
Right.
They shouldn't have fit. They should have been too big. They should have had him.
Well, they should have just used a different actor.
Something.
Or she had to get him 2 sizes too small.
Man, get the hell out of here.
Oh man, you saw how big he was in the classroom.
Yeah,
put that man's shoes on, man.
Right.
What's up, April Showers in the building? Thank you for tuning on.
What, babe?
Gee, Robin was bad. He was. I don't know about today.
Probably bigger than
that. No, man, she ain't want on that, man. I'm still
mad.
mad. I'm mad for Mike Tyson.
That's the problem. Like, let's go and get the truth. Let's go and get the truth back there.
No, she just never did it for me. Like, old girl, Lita Rochon was a way better looking woman.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah. But, let's not try to play like she Whoopi Goldberg in this motherfucker either, though.
Hey, Robin was killing that.
Hey, if you go back to some old Whoopi photos.
Man, get the hell out of here.
What?
You said what?
If you go back to some old Whoopi photos, like you better try to
she was like 22.
Man, you can feed that fried ice cream with gravy over to anybody but me. Hell, I ain't buying that shit.
Oh, man, he's not the only person that's saying that though, man.
Ted Danson.
Goldberg was
Ted Danson.
Made in America.
Yeah. Jumpin' Jack Flash.
Oh, trash movie.
All right, so he learns boxing. Let's rewind back. His first time sparring, he ends up getting knocked out because he just thought, all right, I can just punch. I can just punch him hard enough, but you gotta have some technique. You gotta catch him. So I felt like that was a really good segment that kind of showed the groundwork of how he got into boxing, which I didn't know that. I don't know if you guys knew that. Let me back up. Did y'all know he joined Job Corps? Anybody know that?
I knew very little about George.
Yeah.
I thought it was a juvenile delinquency thing, and he didn't. That's how he got into boxing. I didn't know it was due to Job Corps.
Well, shit, that's what Job Corps is. They're the juvenile delinquent thing.
Yeah, pretty fun.
You ain't getting no rose scholars in motherfucking Job Corps.
Back then, you might have been, man.
Hey, and that's where he met Dez, the alcohol. It's always the person that you bring in, and he was still an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Robin was all right. She wasn't all right.
Bigger than that. You talking about Florida Avenue?
Wow.
I love it.
Running around here, hit me close to the head.
Oh my God.
Come with it.
Okay, I'm gonna get you back, boy.
Damn. Yeah.
Kitchen in the bedroom. Kitchen in the bedroom.
All right, so he started off.
Don't say it, James.
Damn it.
He started off his career 37-0. That's another thing I did not know.
I knew that.
I mean, he was just knocking people out left and right. Nobody could box him. Then he ends up getting to fighting.
Well, you just gonna skip over the Olympics, huh? You don't give a damn about that.
Well, I did. Go ahead, touch on that. I did skip over it.
He was in the Olympics and he beat the shit out of a Russian guy. Payback for Rocky. Oh, hey, think about it. So that's significant though, because he got a lot of criticism because back then during the times, that's back in the same Olympics where you got this shit going on,
right?
And
right.
he waving
his homeboy showed
and he waving flags, So I think that's a significant part of the come up, Now he didn't like it, he didn't like taking criticism for that, but shit, that's what happened.
Yeah. And the way his boy that he was robbing with, I think that was the same guy when he came back, and he, the guy that was leaning on the car talking to him, wasn't that the same guy that robbed the police officer? But you want to touch on that, A-Trap or Wilkes? Yeah.
We finna have to ban.
I mean, it was just a kind of a short moment, but I mean, I didn't think he was going to be in it. There wasn't really too much else to talk about. But yeah, he was kind of like, oh, well, you doing this, and Jesse Owens is over here doing that. It was just kind of like, man, but I'm trying to get somewhere. But nobody understood that, though. But it was his own story to tell. They didn't understand that, even though that was
selling out.
Yeah, even though that was a heated.
Yeah, and I think it was a situation where sometimes people will label somebody as a sellout, but they just not necessarily tuned into it. Yeah. Now, some people may say how could you not be tuned into it back then? Right. It was unavoidable, but I got the feeling that George, the way they portrayed it, George was just like oblivious to that aspect of it. Like that, he's like, the motherfucker didn't go grab the flag. Shit, they just kind of put it in his hand.
They handed it to
me.
He
was like, he's still trying to figure this Olympics thing out. I got here in a year, which people don't do. You handed me this flag, so shit, I guess they cheering for me. Let me wave this shit.
And I think too, and then I'll go to you, A-Trap. I think too, he was focused. Once he figured out, like, okay, this is the steps I need to take to be the heavyweight champ. This is the steps I need to take to get me out of this. I think he was just so focused. I mean, to him, I don't think it mattered until somebody brought it up to him.
Yeah. And it probably still didn't dawn on him. It's kind of like, hey, I'm just trying to get somewhere, man.
Yeah.
It was kind of like Louis Armstrong when we watched that one. They were asking him. He was just kind of like, hey, I'm still going to play my music. I understand what the cause is, but hey, I'm going to make this music.
Yeah. Go ahead, A-Trap. Man, that was a big side.
No, the thing is with this, the side really is tied into the whole community. Everybody does not have to move in the same place.
Wonderful, 100. You can really cut it past the love offering basket, because if we get that as a community, a lot of things would change. And guess what? Here the thing is too, A-Trap. Sometimes people just need to be the financial backing. Sometimes people need to be the mouthpiece. Sometimes people need to be the physical feet, boots on the ground. Everybody ain't gonna be this vocal situation. But go ahead, my bad.
Oh no, we having a conversation, man. I mean, everybody wants people to be who they want to be, want them to be, because you have this spotlight or you have this stage. And I'm quite sure people walked up to him with that nonsense about, oh man, you a sellout and this, that, and the third. Yeah. But the thing is, who said that George even knew about that situation?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This is 10 years before ESPN is even born.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You got 3 newspapers. You got the Sport News, you got ESPN, and I forgot the third one. What was the third one, dog? What was the third one? Sport News, ESPN, and whatever.
Yeah.
So, and then it's amazing how people give people grace that they like. Like, I don't like the mistreatment. I'm not a Michael Jordan fan at all, but I don't like the mistreatment and the calling of being a coon that Michael Jordan gets, because he's not out there with his philanthropic endeavors. Michael Jordan does a ton of philanthropic endeavors in our community, primarily focused in Wilmington, North Carolina, where he's from. But he's opened up about 13 clinics, and we know how the medical industry is at this point. So, you don't have to walk around beating the tambourine, showing everybody that you black as hell. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
And it was disappointing to see George, like me. The whole concept of my show tomorrow is pro-black. And anybody that knows me, that's who I am. It's baked into who I am, my existence. But everybody's not me, and we continue to just put these labels on people because John Carlos and Timmy Smith did it. You have to do it. Muhammad Ali did it. You have to do it. Simultaneously, those cats standing out there looking like they were selling weed, man. So what y'all doing for the community?
There you go. There you go. Great.
I was doing something that was not for the people.
Right.
Y'all mad at me because I did what I did?
I mean, how quickly we forget we were robbing this drunk man coming out of the bar, but he so happened to be a police officer. Stop. Come on.
And then he ended up hiding underneath the house. You know, well, they end up chasing him, and the other guy seemed to got away. They ended up splitting up.
Right. I mean,
but I was kind of the breaking point, I think, for him too. But. All right, let's get to some comment. Somebody feeling whoopee.
Yeah.
Somebody. Jungle said he wants the camel toe pick.
Hey.
Wow.
Now that must be an old camel toe pick.
Maybe that's
not
the
today.
No, he's asking for her to send him that pick in a one-way bus ticket. Is what he's saying, and I'd be on that bus pass. So he's saying he with it.
Yeah.
Not today's time.
The Goldberg couldn't send me a one-way ticket nowhere but away from her.
That's right.
Shout out to the Hawk TV. Said this movie wasn't the best depiction of an influential figure in Black America, but it definitely wasn't the worst. Certain parts I said that isn't right. Yet Foreman's comeback montage and story, part 2, was one that I applaud. Yeah.
Right there. And I'm not knocking the comment, but because of that, it was an influential figure in Black America. Right?
True.
You know, so you went from rags to riches.
Yeah.
Right? You know, so that's influence if you're paying attention to it.
Big of the noise comment. Need more cussing. I hate these PG-13.
My God.
It was made by Affirm Films, which is really a Christian-based movie production company. So it really wasn't geared to show that.
And he's right, because I got news for you. Because again, even though I didn't think the acting was great in it and stuff like that, with a name like Sony behind you, you should be able to do better than 3-point-something million in the box office. You know, did you put anything into it? There's ways you can cut up a trailer to make people go. You can do that in the first damn weekend. You can make your money back if you put anything into it. Now, once people got to saw how bad the damn acting was, maybe they don't go back. But think about it. The lady who played George Foreman's mom, she's not a bad actress. Yeah. She was in a lot of stuff, including what's the Baltimore a series out of Baltimore, The Wire. She was in that. And then, of course, Forest Whitaker. So you got some named actors and actresses in there that you could have got some more out of this, you know. But I just don't think they did a good job of marketing it, to be perfect.
And one thing I did notice too is, like I said, Affirm Films produced it or they directed it or whatever. But a lot of their films they don't really push because they kind of have a built-in Christian audience that'll just go see whatever. So I think they kind of use that same, that same plan for this. But this is George Foreman.
Yeah.
Like you
Big Illinois is onto something. There's a segment of the movie going population that ain't going to see no PG-13 shit. I promise you, they not.
That's true.
If it's not an R rating or an NC-17, I don't know which one is higher, NC-17 or R. But if it's not NC-17, R, whatever the case may be, big blacks, big racks, you know, and they ain't going to see it. You know,
volume 4. Gotta get that volume.
Oh my God! What's in the cup, dog?
Matter of fact, I ain't even got no cup.
That's just him. Yeah. Hawk TV says Foreman was a great fighter who inflicted pain, then transformed to a warrior of God. And me and Doc know a person that played for the Cowboys, Warren Williams. If y'all remember the safety Warren Williams
out of
Oklahoma. He went to the same
place we went to. Originally before Oklahoma was out of the Bay Area of California.
Right. That's
where he was from originally.
And he told the story that he was so mad at his dad that's the reason why he played with so much passion and rage for whoever he was hitting. And then when he found the Lord, that kind of tapered off. And y'all remember how his career started to kind of taper off some because he didn't have that same I need to inflict this type of pain, which is a parallel to Foreman.
Yeah.
Big Illinois says Whoopi looked like her father.
Yeah. You can look like
I
your
didn't see a lot of
daddy,
promotion.
but your daddy just can't be.
And I agree with you, Big Illinois. I didn't see a lot of promotion either. I think I've seen the commercial a couple times.
A lot of it. The funny thing is, I never see promotions. It'll put like this. I see promotions like I listen to the music and
the music of the film. Yeah.
And I saw a lot of promotion for this.
So where did you see it at, A-Track? What kind of situation was it on regular TV?
Network
Was
TV.
Okay.
Like watching baseball games, I would see it. And then I like documentaries, so I'm on YouTube a lot. Yeah. I was saying had Ben not said this tonight, I would have assumed it did well because I saw a lot. I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah. I think a lot of times too, even the movie industry, really a lot of advertisers got to change the way they do business because the way people watch TV now is different. Mm-hmm. They don't watch TV the same way. They're not on network TV. I'm somebody who's rarely on network TV. So if you want me to get some promos on something, you better do something different. And in some ways, you may even want to go backwards and hit billboards or something like that because I'm more likely to be a billboard than I am a TV commercial.
Well, really, if you really want people, you got to go to the phone. You got to hit social media. If you're not on TikTok promoting it, if you're not on the major social media platforms, then 9 times out of 10, unless it's a Marvel movie, I mean, you're not gonna get that.
But even Marvel doing that, though.
But y'all can't put them on in an advanced media if need be.
That's right.
Shameless plug.
And BS3 Network.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
Definitely. All right, so back to it. Joe Frazier, that's who he fought for the heavyweight championship. And at this point, Foreman was 25 years old. And hold on. Wow, I almost got my ages mixed up. But he was 25 actually when he fought Ali. So that means he was probably
22
or so, when he fought Frazier. And that was unheard of again because his ascension was so fast that it was not something that was done during that time. This dude right here.
True. True.
But if
Food Network, and
you're right.
The infomercial.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah.
Food Network and the what's that infomercial channel?
HGTV.
They should have did it too. Because like we talked about the Foreman grills. Yeah.
Represent them grills.
All right, so he my family. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, most people had one. I mean, it was definitely a staple.
I got one. What you mean had? I use it tonight. If I
don't got one no more.
When I saw the juice trickling down to the grease trap, I was like, oh.
Hey, man.
Yeah, the young Wooks was like, nah, this ain't gonna work for me, mom.
This ain't gonna work,
Hey, man.
You can use that, mom.
You know what? Like it didn't cook them steaks good, man. But them pork chops, man.
Yeah, and it did pretty decent on burgers.
You just had to keep your eye on it, man. Meanies.
I'll stick to the panini.
Yeah, that's right.
Grilled cheese. Yeah, I don't know about put no beef on that motherfucker.
It'll take forever to make an Italian sausage, so you just cut that John in half.
Yeah, they gonna start smoking it.
I'm telling you, man, your boy was out here.
I had a question. A lot of these fights during this time was fought in other countries. So they had Ali, Boombaye. They had Thrill in Manila. This one with Foreman was in
Zaire or something. And there was one
in Jamaica. So what was there some type of benefit, or do y'all know why the fights were fought outside the U.S.?
I mean, I would assume because boxing is an international sport, and you want to draw. You got to think about it like this. Some of the fights that the great Jack Johnson, first black heavyweight champion in the world, he was fighting in Australia. So it was tradition to fight. This is new to be in Vegas every time.
Right.
I mean, fights used to be here in Chicago. The fight in the Garden was the thing.
New York. Yep.
So we have been jaded into believing everything should be in Vegas. Everything should be, everything should be in Vegas. And that's the mecca of boxing. That came along later in time.
And part of it had to do with the way they changed the licensing and boxing commissions and where you could get sanctioned and all that other kind of stuff. But fighting overseas is still taking place to this day. Like even not just in boxing, but in other large fighting sports like UFC. For instance, Israel Adesanya got his ass whooped in Australia this past week.
Off his back.
He did.
Man.
So
man.
Yeah, to Doc's point, I mean, when you had especially late 80s, but definitely through the 90s where you had the big, like, I guess HBO, but you had Showtime that was after it. Budweiser was after it. So Vegas, the MGM Grand, I mean, that's a rate limit production.
And at the end of the day, you can probably still always follow the money. There had to be a financial element to it.
Right.
And guess what? Maybe by fighting overseas, that's what gave them that's when pay-per-view may have gotten big, because that was the only way we were going to be able to see it, right? So sometimes in situations like that, you accidentally stumble on other revenue streams and like, oh shit. Well, since we're over here, that's
Yeah, well, when they were doing that, they were calling it closed circuit then.
Right, CCTV.
Yes.
Yeah, he said so they can get their money. I'm assuming that's to get them.
Ubuntu, he had borrowed money from the Belgian government to pay because get this, the Thriller Manila, the biggest thing wasn't the fight. The biggest thing was James Brown and the Pointer Sisters.
Right. So the concert that you had along with
the fight.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, you got hotel, revenue and,
Oh, yes.
So, so it's just like getting the Super Bowl in a city. It's going to be a boom.
Right. It's going to add a lot of revenue. Yeah.
Ali Boombaye, shit.
And it was mainly black people there too. So I was even thinking, if you think of Ali, Ali was probably thinking about the money it could bring.
That was a Don King production. That's how Don King got his foot in the door in regards to
only in America.
That's his first big fight. The Thriller
was his first big
the Rumble in the Jungle was his first big production.
Okay.
So that's what put him on the map. And, you got to.
Have they done a Don King? I feel like they have plenty of them.
Yeah. Ving Rhames played DonKing.
That's what I thought.
I love that movie. Don King hates it. I don't, me personally, I don't see him in the bad.
You talking about the Great White Hope?
No, it's HBO production.
Yeah,
I like it. And Don King is so big that even Rocky had to account for his character in Rocky 5.
Rocky 74,
even in Miami
Gun Morrison.
Even in Miami Vice, Don King was in Miami Vice because they had a boxing episode. And of course, he was Don King in that too. I was like, damn, I don't know if he acted or not.
My favorite scene in that Don King movie is when he set up the Thriller, the Rumble in the Jungle. Yeah. He walked into the bathroom with $50K large in a brown bag. He told George, sign the contract right here. He said, hey, man, but it's blank. He said, don't worry about it. I'll fill it in later. I was like,
so it's sign what that X is. Well, it's nothing above the X.
That's what he told him. That's exactly what he just signed what X is.
Yeah, what's his name? Suge Knight wasn't the first Suge Knight.
Yeah, right.
Don King was a good man. He was a gangster, man.
Yeah, and that's why I don't think there's been a true documentary about him, because I think it's some shit that we ain't even know.
Yeah.
Before we ever heard of him, Don King went to jail for killing a dude in his house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Don King wasn't no
little man. Any Negro who got his hair like that they just don't give a fuck, they'll kill you.
Yeah.
He always ready. He always got that thing on him. He always
box with Don King, man. You dumb enough to sign this contract. I'm dumb enough to give it to you.
Yeah. Right.
Hold on.
So Foreman ended up beating Frazier, and then he defended his title twice. And then it comes to Ali, which at that time Foreman was 25, Ali was 32. This was 1974, and this was when Ali was. This was kind of it. Like they were even saying, if you don't win this, his career is pretty much done. And 32 in any sport is, that's like 40 or 50 years old.
Especially boxing. You've been getting
it
bust
cute.
upside your head
Damn,
since
good
you was 10.
comment.
It said a documentary about Don King would expose more than just him.
Oh,
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Right, you're right.
Yeah. Bob Arum is a way bigger crook than Don King.
And she confused him, and she put keeping it cute. Do you pronounce it cute or cutty? Shit, I don't know. Yeah, it's with a K.
Cute.
Don't matter. I took a sip for it.
Yeah. A documentary about Don King will
I would expose the whole industry.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
don't
think
want
about
that.
it, man.
That's organized crime right there, baby.
We accuse Don King of cheating people, and he has had some nefarious activities. And you know, I'm not gonna be foolish enough to believe that Don King is square biz in a crooked situation.
Right.
But Don King ain't never been to jail. Bob Arum has been. Let's just get that out there. Bob Arum.
Yeah, no doubt. Oh, no doubt.
Don King went to jail for killing somebody who broke
I mean,
his house.
I mean, think about
Bob
it. You know,
Arum went to jail for cheating.
I'm not saying that there are not some good promoters out there. We're not just talking about boxing. We're talking about boxing, UFC, the music industry. Promoters got some shit, you know. So
Yeah.
I mean, think about
make their money.
Wrestling, right? So every promoter done had some bullshit. They name a promoter who that Oscar De La Hoya done got some shit about him.
I got one.
What's the WWE guy? He in some shit.
Vince
Some shit.
McMahon.
Boy, UFC guy in some shit. All them promoters been on it, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
What's his name? He used to be Riddick Bowe. He got a podcast now. Light skinned dude. I never knew he was white. Never thought he wasn't white until he had a podcast.
Riddick Bowe's trainer.
Riddick Bowe's promoter. Never heard nothing bad about him.
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
And Butch Reed.
Oh Lord,
bad about Butch. What's his name, man?
Talking about Rock Newman.
Charlie
Rose.
Rock Newman he got away unscathed, but he got away.
Yeah.
Rock Newman. I never knew Rock Newman was black until he did that podcast.
The Jungle says Don King said the way Ali treated him and talked down to him shaped the way he treated boxers in the future. Signed them before they were champion. They control.
Because Ali saw you was a fucking crook. Is the way he
right. Did it hurt? I know that it hurt your feelings, boy. Get your ass over.
Nah, you know, I'm a side with Don King and Jungle on that one. Ali was running with a crook, and I ain't gonna say his name, but
one of them Islam dudes.
I ain't gonna say. I can't say nothing bad about
you. Sure can't, because they'll come get your ass. You right there in the street. You right down the street from the nigga house. Hey, what time is it?
You live in Michigan now, man.
It's 9:28. They had your ass by 9:42.
I roll with Jesus, man. Jesus, I ain't worried about Allah.
Excuse me. Knock.
Let's see what number it is. Put that comment back up. My name is Shania. What number? Hey, that's what I need to know. 5, 3.
He said, but it's keeping it cute.
Yeah, man, Rock Newman.
Keeping it cute.
But I ain't gonna say nothing bad about the brothers, but that dude was a bigger crook than anything, man. I mean,
it's been plenty of them out there, man. You know, they what they say, the love of money is the root of all evil, you know, so
y'all know what I say, but I can't say it now.
And a lot of times these boxers are in situations where they need these fights. So they gonna go with the crooks.
Oh yes,
they gonna go with the cats that they know in the back of their mind they signing a bad deal. Most people know in the back of their mind they're not signing something good, especially if you ain't read it.
I don't think they think about it, to be perfectly honest with you. The easiest way to get somebody is to get somebody in dire straits. You can have somebody who has nothing,
need that money.
And you present them, as Don King said in the movie, a person will take he said they'll take $100,000 cash versus $1 million check. Because the check is still, I don't care how Bob Arum, Don King, Khris Davis, whoever you are, Barry Gordy, the devil himself, what's his name? Clive Davis, the devil himself.
The Ink that we just watched in
check is a possibility. I don't care how much money you got. If you could,
Yeah, and it's you know there was this story on Magic I did not know that he signed with Converse, right? Because they gave him the most money, but he could have took some stock options with Nike.
I saw that.
He would have been. Well, I mean, he still made out well, but
he could have.
You know,
he could have been Jordan before Jordan.
Yeah,
right.
From what I understand, that's the whole reason of the 85 All-Star Game freeze out, because Magic was jealous that dude got the Nike deal. Instead of blaming it on my man. I don't like that. Don't blame the guy. Yeah, that's my guy. We from the West Side, man. That's what I do.
Yeah,
West Side of Chicago. We stick together. We got the W, man.
That may be the number one. You know, A-Trap and I are cool as, you know, we go back like, you know,
Four flats
on a Cadillac, right? You know, but when it comes to Isaiah Thomas, that may be our number one point of dissension, because I am not an Isaiah Thomas fan at all.
Nobody be no fan. I'm talking about strictly between the 94 by 54. Ain't nobody but Magic Mo gooder.
Yeah, Isaiah gave these jokers some free T-shirts and some shoes.
Hey, that's right. He
can't do no wrong.
That's my man.
I was living on the north side by then. I was gonna give you that shirt.
I'm gonna ride with you to the end.
What'd you say, Will?
Get at me, dog.
Right. That's right. Me and Mark went to the same high school, man. I'm gonna get off my guy, man. Y'all know it, man.
Okay, so somebody
like you go to my Instagram page tonight and you see what he was doing. I don't hear none of that.
No, Ben. Go ahead and ask that question. Did we like the Ali? No. They could have did better picking an Ali guy. Worst Ali depiction I'd have ever seen in any movie ever.
Y'all see the realm.
Yeah.
Pastor Don said,
the Rem looking out for his love offering. Yeah, he gonna ride with you.
No, that ain't got nothing to do with me.
Yeah, he gotta have somebody that's gonna do the cookouts for the church picnic. Shit, he gotta tell you.
That building fund, baby. That building.
We don't consider ourselves Chicagoans.
I ain't put a doorknob on the church.
We West Side Illinois, man. We ain't even from Chicago, man.
Yeah.
Your favorite ball player from Chicago, man. That's all I know.
And Ali was trash, bro.
So A-Trap being like the Ali.
No, he was hot garbage, man.
Yeah.
They could have done better. I didn't know who the guy was. I hadn't seen him in anything. That goes back to the point to where they did this film on a budget. Is what it seems.
Yeah, I can't believe it's $30 million, man. Unless they gave.
They probably gave Forrest like 10, and then they gave.
No. What you mean? The budget was $30 million.
32.
Oh,
they must have gave Forest Whitaker 28.
Yeah, most movies make 32 in the first week opening. Like, it's a slow one.
This one
that's trash.
I don't know what that was. It said that's you, King.
About love offering.
About the love offering.
But yeah. So he ends up fighting.
Hang on. So somebody mentioned the music guy, Barry Gordy. So that leads us to the soundtrack situation. So A-Trap, did you?
Not a peep.
They had such songs as "Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City" by Bobby Bland, which is a bad Bland,
which is a Jay-Z sample.
Gonna have a funky good time by James Brown.
I heard that when he was training with the funky good time. Okay, I did hear that.
Do It Till You're Satisfied by BT Express. Let It Rip by the Dash Band.
They had the Dramatics on there.
Yeah. Y'all they could have had
for the first time. I would have missed it. For the first time ever, I'm gonna agree with A-Trap. I wasn't really paying attention to the music.
See,
I
don't know. I was more so.
What?
I just wasn't in this one. I wasn't. Normally, I'm keen to the music.
It's not about the fact that you're paying attention to it. It's a matter of you can't miss it.
Right. Two James Brown songs
in your face. Yeah, and especially when you go with your Bobby Bland stuff.
First of all, James Brown's the first mumble rapper. So
have a fucking good time.
Let's get that out there. Don't nobody want to say it. James Brown was a mumble.
And they let him ride. See, sometimes a movie would just hit it for a hot second and come off of it. But they was letting it go for a minute or so, through scenes and stuff. So I don't know how y'all missed that.
Amen. All right. So he lost, obviously, to Ali. Ali was Ali tired him out, worked him. Yeah,
rope-a-dope.
Yeah, rope-a-dope against the ropes and all that. And then he ended up, fast forward, he ended up losing to Jimmy Young.
See, even that tells you back then he was known for being a big dope. That's why he said he was telling her they think I'm a dope. We rope a dope, and I am a big dope. So that was
It was like in your butt, you walk like this, and your
yeah. So
yeah, man. I was like, oh gosh. I have to say, when I first got it, I was like, oh, I may have to tap out if he gonna
get out of here, Jungle Brother. You're wrong. You've been saying some funny shit all day. You're wrong now, man. You're wrong. Ali movie was not trash. Ali movie was amazing.
He said, unlike Friday or Players Club, I watched that 1,000 times.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna go with Players Club. I got bad memories about Players Club. I'm gonna keep that to myself. But I'm with Jungle Brother. Ali was huff.
No, man, y'all tripping.
I mean, I didn't, okay. Like, let's say this. This should have been after school special for real. But come on, man.
This film should have been after school special.
This movie right here should have been this after school special.
It should have went straight to Netflix. And you didn't have to put it.
Should have went straight to that bin at Walmart. But
hey,
I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna front. I liked it, but yeah, the Ali movie.
Well, we've gotten into this before, right? Where we fall in love with the character, the real life character, so we give it some more points than it deserves. It's like it was trash, but we're so into the story, and it's a fascinating story, and all that other kind of stuff. But
y'all, that's how I feel about.
I think that's why I never really just kind of got to whoever was portraying these characters. I guess I never really just kind of like, oh man, the acting was great, but I guess for me it was more like I didn't know all this stuff about George Foreman because
so they get some points for that.
So, it was more more like a Friday night special.
That's why they get a 3 and not a 2 because they.
I
didn't know. Yeah.
Well, I gave it a 1 because it wasn't enough racism, so I didn't really, whatever. But.
Good that I'm influencing you, Wilkes. Good to be a good influence on you, bro.
All right, we a little bit past time, but let's get to the segments.
Let's pass that plate.
King Dog's Fate. Beauty of the week.
And anybody who's new to the show and you're looking at those graphics, okay, you got me now. For the record, anybody who's looking at the graphics of the Beauty of the Week segment intro, it ain't me. That's the shit Ben picked for some reason. That tells you probably all you need to know about Ben. Beauty of the Week, unlike a lot of films, there were a few candidates in here that you could consider, me and Wilkes was talking, or it might have been me and Ben. It was me and Ben. And he said, so I hope Erica listening so he can know which one he picked. He picked the lady in the hotel room that was cheating on him. So he picked us. So
really?
Yeah, that's who he picked. His second wife, the one with the accent, I don't know where she was from, and if she really from there, she's a candidate. Yeah. But my selection was the one and only Shane, and it's pronounced Shane Mompremieri. Shane Mompremieri. She's a Haitian American actress, best known for her role as Ludi in the film Ludi, which premiered at South by Southwest Film Festival.
I haven't watched it yet.
And the second I saw her, I'm like, that's the one. Cycle through these pictures, man. Cycle through these pictures. That's the one. She's again, and we're talking about beauty inside and out, so talking about age rap pro blackness, A-Trap's pro-blackness. She is very pro-black, A-Trap, which you know, you're gonna get a lot from some Haitians.
It's the one. It's the one right here.
Hairstyle. You can tell by your hairstyle, you know, that she pro-black. So yeah, I give it a Shane Mom Premiere. Yeah, keeping it cute.
Was that the first wife?
Keeping it cute too. Yes, this was the first wife. Yeah. So yeah, so that is our beauty of the week this week.
Yep.
And Shane Mom Premiere called me.
Yeah. And if you rewind back to the Jackson TV series, they had a Joe Jackson moment where she picked up the phone. It was like, don't call here no more. Who is this?
Yeah.
I'm tired of keeping tabs.
Because George, you know, this was before cell phones, so George had his side pieces calling the eyes.
Man, George was sloppy, man. George was sloppy with his.
Yeah.
He needed to get caught up because George
he's a
was
big dope, right? You know,
Was he really sloppy? Or was it just
he was
time?
Like I said, in the beginning of the movie, I was about to
you
check out.
look at somebody's phone number in the phone book. The whole world had
he didn't even know how many.
That's
You
true.
eat your cornbread.
Yeah, what he gonna do? Not tell her his real name? Shit, she knew he
Right. See, this is a different time. It wasn't no block on the phone. How you block somebody back then? Take the phone off the hook.
Right.
Yeah.
And then your mama ain't gonna be able to call you.
Right.
She gonna show up. Why your phone been busy for 3 days?
Right.
Your mama gonna come over, hang it up, go back home, then call you.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, you pick it up then.
Did we acknowledge Miss LaTanya Childs? I don't know that I've seen her name.
We did.
What's the House Warrior? That's another West Side.
Thank you
What's
for coming
up,
through.
LaTanya?
The W.
Whoops, you wanted to add something?
What's that?
I don't know. You were sounding like you were saying something, but we were.
Oh no, I'm just saying. I mean, at the beginning of the movie, I was a little worried. I'm like, well, damn, was he retarded? I was like, I'm a little nervous.
Hey man, come on, man.
You gonna eat your cornbread? But I was like, if he's
Right.
I didn't know what the hell was going on with this burger that looked like they got it from Griff. I was like, what is this?
Don't sleep on Griff's now, shit.
Oh, I ain't sleeping on
onion
Griff.
rings.
You said they got it from
rings.
where?
I swear the burger looked like they got it from Griff's. They just took the toppings off.
Yeah. It did look like a Griff's burger. Yeah. Hey,
I don't know, maybe.
Get the onion rings extra crispy and a vanilla shake with the burger.
Let me get that monster number 4, baby.
You're winning, baby.
Yeah, come with it.
Now, did y'all know about the when he lost to Jimmy Young? Did y'all know about that whole scene where he passed out or died in the locker room?
Never heard that.
I heard about it.
I never knew about
I
that.
never heard about that.
I heard about it.
And I didn't know if it was like a outer body experience where he kind of, went into a coma or trance or something, because I never heard anything about that.
A trance.
I don't know, man. I don't know. The acting on that part was bad. That was horrible right there.
What's this? 1979.
Get him, man. Get him, man. He said a trance. Oh, get him, man.
Yeah. What's that?
What I did not know is that he retired from boxing at 28.
Yeah.
The first time. I didn't know it was that young at the time. Really, I didn't know that.
That's when I started making those TV appearances and everything.
Yeah, I didn't know he was that young.
He started after that Jimmy Young thing. He started making those TV appearances. You saw him on Sanford and Son and other programs. And then he he went right into religion. What they didn't show on here, and which I wish they would have, and maybe it is because it was a Christian-based programming, and they're not gonna go and they're gonna not get into the scuttlebutt of things. George was villainized at this. He was known as an angry black man. They touched on it briefly when he was a younger person, but he's known. George has been known. He's been villainized. He's been known as an angry guy who's ready to slap you at any time. Yeah. And I really wish they would have touched on that, because it's not a angry black man situation more than what we saw at the very beginning of the film. Like W.E.B. Du Bois say, if you're walking around America, you're a black man and you're not angry, I'm wondering what's wrong with you.
Right on.
And white folks always want to make us villains. They did the same thing with Reggie Jackson, but Reggie Jackson was articulate enough to voice his opinions. George wasn't. And I know we joking about him being retired and everything. We having a good time with it, but it's just, look, man, I'm in a brutal sport. I have to go into a zone. We talk about it in sports all the time.
I'm glad you said
see athletes, you get me on the field,
right,
and then you beat you somewhere else. And then
right.
while I'm still in that place, you want to ask me, so what do you think about this? I want to slap you. That's what I want,
Right.
So, there's some parallels to Mike Tyson. And when the guy kept telling him, let him out.
Right.
You didn't have to tell Mike to let his ass out. Mike was going to come out and let him out. Right.
Yeah, he was out.
But that parallel is drawn that there is someone to let out. Right. There is a piece to let out, So that's a great point.
And I think once he found the Lord, he suppressed it. I mean, it was still there, but he suppressed it. He knew he figured out a way,
Yeah, even on the street when that man was kind of, teasing him because he's not in the ring, he looked like he wanted to knock him out with that bottle in his hand.
He was put the fangs on him, man.
Put his paws on him, but
it's always that person like, yeah, man, Jimmy, knocked you out, man. What you doing over here on the corner? It's like,
right.
Man,
you know us, man. We ain't gonna let you go right.
Yeah, man.
We gotta
sit your $5 ass down for me.
Man. No change. Larry Merchant, the dude who used to be the co-host on HBO Boxing.
Yeah, Larry Merchant.
They would. I remember one of the last fights I saw George on HBO. If you watched that post-fight interaction, George looked at him like,
right,
I'm still George Foreman, guy.
Right. Yeah.
And and it's
and
really,
he did that for a while too. That's why I said Foreman was always around. He was always
that's true.
present.
I forgot about that.
He did that for, they said, 12 years or something like that?
He did it for a very long time. George, and he was excellent at that job.
Yeah, that's right. And I was gonna say he didn't come across as no dope at all on that,
Yeah,
and he stayed away. He stayed away for 10 years. Being a pastor, he had the community center.
And you know what?
Still letting Dez handle his money.
He didn't take it. So as a result of him quitting early and then coming back, he probably saved his brain a whole lot of bashing. It's probably a good reason why he was able to, be as lucid as he was at his older age, stuff like that.
If you look at Ali, probably about that time he came back, I don't know this, but Ali was probably going in that direction if he wasn't already there, with the Parkinson's and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Trump.
Oh, no. Like, yeah, man. I mean, like, I'm sometimes, of course, as a young person, I wanted to be a professional athlete. I wanted to be a professional football player. That was my thing. And thank God I never had I didn't have my first concussion to that accident, but I never had a concussion in the game. I never had my bell rung. And it's primarily because of situations to whereas when you in that zone, and I was lucky enough to have coaches who taught us technique. And I definitely believe technique saves your brain because when you watch the Ronnie Lotts, when you watch the Mike Singletaries, when you watch the Van McElroys, they hit you with their shoulder, they lead with their legs.
Right.
You're not leading with your head. George Foreman.
And if they do, they keeping their head up to where it's face mask.
It's not like this.
There are so many pros that will lead at the ground of you, and I don't get that, man.
I don't understand that.
We learned that in Little League, man. You don't lead with your
head. Don't lead with your head.
See your way through the head. And with George, he might have been saved because George he was a knockout artist, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So he may have been saved. You don't see a lot of knockout guys like Mike Tyson. He still was. Yeah, he got popped.
That's true.
That's true. But Evander Holyfield, boy, that boy gonna be 30% retired in about 3 years.
Punching. Yeah. In fact, they got a term. They got a term for it in boxing, and it's called punching.
Yeah, like Hitman Hearns
or punch drunk.
That man, he won Kool-Aid glass away from slobbing, man.
You can tell that based on how he cares for his hair right now. Shit.
This is true.
I'm not messing with this guy right here. This dude.
Put it up.
I identified with George. Remember that first butt whooping he took? Nate Jones, bronze medal Olympic. That was my guy. And we used to hate each other as children. He was like, hey man, we used to compete on every level. He talked me into going in boxing. Man, Nate beat the hell out of me, man. Nate stomped me out in that ring. He was like, hey, and him and his trainer was like, you got something? I was like, yeah, my ass whooped. I'm not doing this no more. I was like, nah, get hit in the face.
Yeah.
Nah.
Now, one thing I will give them is the wardrobe. Whoever was in charge of wardrobe on this did a good job because they had
that's where they spent that 30.
That's right. They had the iconic corduroy shorts. That's why Ali knocked his ass out. He was so hot in them damn shorts.
Walking around the damn mat.
He had overalls and a coat on.
But some of the outfits that they wore out of the ring and stuff like that, you remember seeing them on TV in those outfits and stuff. So I thought they did a good job of wardrobe.
They did wardrobe, locations. They matched that up. I think they did agree with you there. All right, so he spent 10 years away from boxing. Then he came back in 1987. But I did want to touch on the Dez moment. And the mom, she didn't have, a lot of scenes necessarily, but she came in and they gave her some really good substance to the lines that she had, especially when he took the money and he was like, so what you gonna do? You gonna try to find this guy? What you gonna do to him? And I think she said something to the effect, well, you got everything.
Yeah. Leave him be.
Leave him be. Right. Yeah. Right.
And he said, I lost everything I worked for. She goes, no, you have everything you work for. What she was trying to say is that money isn't what you work for. You work to become this person you are. Yeah. And that's more important than any money you get.
Right. Jungle again. He said, I got my first concussion sneaking out of Bernadette window. So head first instead of feet first.
Hey. Boys in the Hood scene.
My guy.
Yeah. So he ends up fighting this cat, Zorski, in 1989. That dude looked like he owned a chain of Resta Sizzlers or something. I don't know. That dude didn't look like he boxed at all.
Man.
Jeez. Oh, you getting shrimp?
We going says. We going
says. Hey, boy. Sizzler Ponderosa back in the day was a lick. Well, I don't know what nobody saying. Well,
that's why I used to love him during football. We would always go to Greenville to play a game every year, and we knew we were going to stop at Western Sizzling on the way back.
Yeah.
Chicken fries.
Hey, there was a Sizzler off of what was that? Josie? Now it's something else, but that was probably the last
Sizzlers, Bonanza, all of them was the same. Ponderosa, they was all.
Yeah.
All right, we ain't got but about
close. Go to
20 minutes. Yeah. All right, so at 45, he won the title. Now that what is that called? Whatever the computer graphics they was trying to do, now that was trash.
Oh, that was trash. Sony should have been ashamed of itself, man.
Come on. Like you
that was Fight Night 2001.
Basically, man.
I think that's one of those situations where they overthought it. They probably tried to go basic and simple, trying to be a little retro with it, and they overthought it.
That didn't work.
That's what they spent all that
money. That was a negative on that CGI. That's what they spent. They spent 19 on that.
Yeah, and they was scary.
They gave 10 to Forest, and then they split up the rest between the rest.
Straight up,
man. Rest of the actors. So last thing I want to say, 1999, he sold George Foreman Grill for $137 million. At the end, they showed some comparison photos. They gave a little bit more of some notes. So I felt like they ended it well.
That's where all the budget went to the credits.
Yeah, I guess so. Getting them photos, they probably had to pay George. For them photos.
Run me my money.
Fun fact,
man.
The original person for George Foreman Grill was Hulk Hogan.
Really?
Why does that sound vaguely familiar? But
So what happened?
He answered the call that day.
Wow.
Why does that sound familiar? Like I've heard this before.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan. It's kind of like Eddie Murphy was Sylvester Stallone was supposed to be Beverly Hills Cop.
I remember that. I remember you saying that. Yeah.
That wouldn't have worked though.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, he had his moment with other cop shows, but not Beverly Hills Cop. Yeah.
Western Sizzler got the best East rolls next to Quincy's. I don't know about Quincy's.
No, he right. I don't know about Quincy's, but they got some good East rolls.
Yeah.
Nowadays, though, Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah. With that honey butter. Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Oh,
we all some fat dudes talking about some food.
Texas Roadhouse.
Talking about some rolls, yeah.
You know you fat.
Hey, who got the best rolls?
I don't need Texas Roadhouse.
Hey. But
now you're talking to.
Now we're getting into elitist mayhem category. The chef, the elitist chef in mayhem is where we're at.
Now you're talking to Salt Bay here, okay? It's all they said on Salt Bay level, man. Come on. All right,
chili, they got some great chili.
I mean, they probably do, but
I
don't need that.
Great what?
Yeah, we don't know. None of us need it. Shit.
Nah, I'm good, man.
Hey, you can make it at the house.
Yeah, I can make it at the house.
Yeah. All right, final thoughts and Mike rating. If you're first time tuning in, we rate films 1 to 5 mics. Obviously, 5 being the best, 1 being the absolute worst. And we're gonna go to Wilkes first. I've been waiting for this very moment.
Well, it wasn't that big of a sack of shit like I thought it was. but I judged it wrong because I really thought he was going to be retarded in the beginning. But I have to say I'll have to give it a 3. I'll give it a 3. Okay. I was really upset because I didn't hear the N-word and I didn't see much racist. I was kind of so they're just not going to throw around the N-word today? No racism? What is this?
Yeah,
I mean, we just go
70s,
we just go through this era with. I mean, but I get it. They want to be lighthearted.
Yeah, they were trying to keep it PG.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. No need of.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's cool. I go with 3. And sorry, audience, I'm always usually off the chain, so I apologize. I don't want to run anybody off.
No apologies.
Y'all mayhem for a reason.
Yeah, pretty much. They're probably like, oh, who's that guy?
He's been PG-13 tonight.
I really have.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
I really have.
We got a Roadhouse. Roadhouse does have some damn good East rolls.
Damn
good. You
Them
said George Foreman
East rolls
so good now.
Them East rolls so good, you got to take an antibiotic when you leave that motherfucker. Get rid of
That is nasty. I'm done with you. Hey, cut his mic off, man. We gotta take it.
You big dummy.
Well, wait a minute.
Don't worry. Don't daddy shorts, huh?
Yeah.
Right. That's right. You better not.
All right, they
let them puppies breathe.
Breathe, baby. Breathe,
man. I ain't messing with you no more.
If it's damp down there, there ain't no airflow. Shit, you in trouble.
Air out.
I ain't messing with you, man.
Air them out.
Messing with you no more.
Yeah.
I'm out the game.
Air them out. Air them out.
I'm with Wilkes 3. Good story. Good information. Great soundtrack.
Now we know you lying.
Yeah, right. Great story. Good story. Great details, good information. I'm with Wilkes. The information takes it over the top. The anger management, the growth, the development. Mm-hmm. And what I did like about this story, and I don't know how much truth it is, you find out that George has been a good at his core. George has been a good dude his whole life.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yep.
So 3. I started off at 3. I ended at 3.
It was one of the real quick. It was kind of like one of those moments where it kind of piggyback off the H-Rap real quick. It was almost kind of like redirecting your anger.
Mm-hmm.
Your anger is pointed or focused at the wrong thing.
Right. Yeah, and Wilkes, this should have resonated with you based on a few weeks ago when you talked about that guy that's inside that you're trying to keep at bay.
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Yeah. Trust me. Yeah. I said the same thing because when he went down on his knees and prayed, it was one of those moments where it's like, you may not understand it now, but something, or like my grandmother always say, something's gonna knock you back down.
Right. Yeah.
You don't ever get too high being a child of God because he gonna knock you back down a few notches.
You better humble yourself, don't you get it?
Yeah, yeah. So, absolutely. That was a constant struggle for him. I mean, even when Forest Whitaker was telling him, hey, it's up here. It's more than just fighting. You gotta, have that technique inside. You gotta think. So
Yeah.
no, you're absolutely right.
Remember that one scene where somebody did something to him and he jumped at him, but he caught himself.
Yeah.
So they illustrated there was a
absolutely. Yeah.
Dougal on these rolling.
So let me ask you this: so H-Rap said he started at a 3, stayed at a 3. Were you started at a 3?
No, I actually did not know what to think going into it because I had never seen the trailer. I did see it on Netflix like it just came out, so I really didn't have a rating.
Mm-hmm.
But after learning more about George Foreman, the things that I saw, to me, he was huge in the 90s. Yeah, he was always probably bigger than life, but it was just like Dick Gregory to me. I didn't know much about Dick Gregory until we watched that documentary because I always knew just about Dick Gregory being funny and his weight loss plan. So
Teach me some of that Dick Gregory.
Yeah, so it was definitely I enjoyed it because, like I said, growing up and my teen years in the 90s and watching him just on sitcoms and guest appearances and commercials. So I think it put me at a 3 at that moment because there was a lot of stuff I did not know about George Foreman. So I really had no rating going into it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, and it has some comedic moments, when they sat down and Forest Whitaker was like, "How much you weigh now?" He was like,
yeah,
$299. He was like, "When you get 265, call me." All right, Doc.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier about the plots, and I was like, life. There's no plot necessary. Life gives you plots. Whether it's this rags to riches story, whether it's conspiracy theories, whether it's comeback stories, love stories, tragedies. There's really no plot necessary in life, sometimes we overthink it, but it's how you tell the story,
Right.
And I'm probably more in agreement with your IMDb's who's giving it a 6.6 out of 10, or Rotten Tomatoes who's giving it a 41%, or Google who's giving it a 51%. I'm at a 3, Mike. That's where I started before this review, and that's where I'm at after this review. Solid 3 months.
All right. So after I finished watching it, I actually had it at a 4. And then when I seen Wilkes' comment in the chat, I dropped it down to 3.5. And then after tonight's conversation, I would take it down to a 3. I think it was average. I do think some of the actors and the acting wasn't superior.
And see, I wasn't bothered. I don't mean to cut you off there. Yeah. I wasn't really bothered by the acting because, like I said, I didn't know much about George, so I didn't get immersed in who was doing the performances. I guess.
Yeah, you were concentrating on the story.
Yeah.
Not how
it was just some. It was just some acting where you had to be like, yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah.
That wasn't good. So it's the three across the board. Coming up next week, we will be reviewing 88. It's on I believe it's on Netflix. This is
Showtime.
On Showtime.
I think.
Very Manchurian Candidate.
Yeah, this is a good one right here. I'm not gonna tell you much about it, but you got to watch this.
You got the poster.
The trailer looks ridiculous.
Let me put the trailer is
like what is happening?
But yeah. So we'll be reviewing that next week. I'll get that. I'll pull it up here real quick. What's coming up tomorrow on End of the Bench?
I got a couple of things. I'm gonna give you a brief synopsis of what I'm gonna do. There's only one. I'm gonna bring up one topic. Pull it up now. Self-love. It's gonna be one of the first things that I talk about. Is self-love. We're gonna talk about self-love. That this week's episode is titled "The Segregation Upend Freedom," and self-love is the topic. One of the major topics tomorrow, simply because we, in our community, when you have somebody do some work for you, people don't hire no black people, or if something goes wrong, see, it's us. And my city is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Y'all being in Dallas, Texas, and like Jungle Brother and Mo being in North and South Carolina, when y'all hear about the violent acts in Chicago, Illinois, people automatically attribute them to our community. Chicago is such a segregated community. that you can, as a Chicagoan, they'll say, like, you guys will see South Side of Chicago, and you automatically think Black people. But there are certain pockets in the South Side that there are not Black people there because they're just not there. They don't go hand in hand. And we will condemn each other in accordance to what people say about certain entities. My man is in Bulgaria right now. Rello is in Bulgaria. He on his way home right now. And he said he had to talk to people about the violence and the race and how Black people acting a fool in Chicago. So if we start loving ourselves, we will stop allowing these tropes and these stereotypes to be placed upon us as if we have a patent on nefarious activities. So I'm going to talk about that. And I got a couple other things. I got about 7 things that I have to whittle down to 3 things.
All right. Definitely tune in tomorrow. End of the bench, 6 p.m. Central on YouTube. All right. Let me pull up that graphic real quick. So this is 88. And interesting role for I think his name's Orlando
Jones.
Jones normally plays the comedic role. He's playing a more serious role, and this is definitely one you want to tune in and watch for next week. All right, so Queen 3 and King tomorrow.
Tomorrow on Queen 3 and King, we have Once Mine, Always Mine, with comedian John Yogi Lewis on. So this is a relationship topic, so, if, you have a friend or a family member or somebody like that done dated somebody, once they through, is it all right for you to date them? So this one ought to be pretty good, So again, Once Mine, Always Mine.
Yeah.
On Queen 3 and King with special guest host, comedian John Yogi Lewis. And if you're familiar with John Lewis, he gonna be as stupid as I am. So I thought this was gonna be a great topic for him to chop it up. So we'll have some fun with that tomorrow. So if you're looking for a laugh, tune in, and you will likely also get some really good information as well. Some thoughts to consider. So
definitely. That's gonna be a good one tomorrow.
I got one thing to say about Dog Show tomorrow. If you date somebody after your relative, in the words of Anu L, you nasty.
All right, I appreciate you, John. We said great show, fellas. All right, close us out. Hey, Trey.
Y'all already know, man. I always quote Reggie O'Shea by saying, dream your dreams and man up and woman up and live your dreams, because life without dreams flows in black and white. Life with dreams flows in Technicolor surround sound. And even though it's the 11th of the month, rent was due last week. So if I owe you something, I ain't got it. And if you need it, get it from God. God.
Appreciate you.
Peace.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.